know. All right. So I've got my little phone project here. And there's a lot going on here. There are so many different technologies over the years. Can we just turn that auto ID off? Let me see. Auto ID off. There we go. And then we can just escape. Basically, the auto ID is for that. If anybody picks up the phone that can hear it, they'll hear the little sound, and they'll know that they're on a phone call with one of these machines on it. Anyway, let's go ahead and dial from here to here. Yeah, I can show you how that works out. So, what is this, 121? So I'm going to dial. So I'll say dial 121. So it's dialing. You can see I start labeling what GA means and what stop key means, SK, since these will be an exhibit. It's dialing. This should have said ringing. Wait, let me try this. I might not have hung up properly, so so let's say control, dial, 121, enter. So check the dial tone. There we go. Normally people would just say, do this, and the wire has to be on the left. You can say, hi. Go ahead. And then it's like, who is this? I don't know why the question mark is not coming across. There are with the codes that come across with these, there are certain characters that will not work. However, these machines came with turbo code. Let me see if turbo code is actually on. Auto answer, turbo code is on. Auto ID is off. Code is automatic. And this does have a printer that works now. And I can say, oh, and he should have said, go ahead. So this person now knows that it's their turn to talk. Otherwise, you're starting to fight over who is speaking. And there's like an etiquette of how to communicate on these things. So I'm going to say, I am trying to reach you for your car's extended warranty. And I can put some exclamation marks. Go ahead. And he's like, no, I'm gonna leave that. Now I don't know if dial. See, he doesn't have a way to hang up, other than I don't know if that's good enough to hang up. Let's see, 121. Yeah, 121 is still on. This guy's still on as well. So if I say control hang up, yes. So he has an option to hang up. He does not. So you can see 121, this guy is still on the line. So normally I have to unplug it and then turn it on. So that's probably why some people would be directly connected to the phone and only use this with the phone coupler. Anyway, the cool thing is I have these, so that's awesome. This is another project I've been working on. This is an older phone that costed a pretty penny. It is It is metal, very heavy, and I'm able to get a dial tone and speak. It does not fit properly on these because it's just such an older model that before standards came into place. But I figured the problem was it had 3 wires and I couldn't get the ringer to work, so I went ahead and bought these capacitors. These are for 250 volts. I only needed 125, 150 volt support, so these are kind of overkill. But there is a trick you can use between the red and the green wires or the red and the yellow wires to get the ringer to work on the circuit. And it wasn't working because when I opened this thing up, there was no bell. So this guy, he's dependent on a ringer box. And it just so happens I do have a ringer box. Now this is an older version. It is a crank ringer box, but it does have a lot of the same markings, L2, L1, and ground. So all I need for the ringer is green and red. And you can see I did the capacitor trick here. However, I ran into a little bit of a problem in that just using one capacitor was too overpowering. So I actually had to use 2 capacitors and put them in parallel. And let's see, let's just call that 1, 2, 1. It is 1, 2, 1. There we go. Look at that. See that little bell in there? And it actually does work because you can, when you open it up, because you can see the hinges are actually used to continue the connection so that the wires didn't wear out as you opened it up. There's a little magnometer inside, or a magnometer, whatever you want to call it. It generates AC power. There were laws put on the books about these because people would take these out of their phones and use them to go fishing and watch all the fish go belly up. So they said, hey, don't do that. This little ringer box did have to have some repairs on its own because the bells were not elevated. I had to take off the black bells, found some screws, and had to screw in the device because this was not affixed properly. It is working now, but there are scratches on there now. This ringer box came with an old candlestick phone. And you can see how old it is. So this has got a patent from 1913 on the condenser microphone. And then down here we have patents for, I think that's 1915. Another for, is that 1918 maybe? There's another 1918 and 1920. So they didn't expect us to be in the 2000s. And this will still be working, I guess. The interesting thing is this had been in use, and that somebody had put an end on it for an RJ11 jack. So that is not normal of the time. You can see that's actually a cloth wire. And for old phones like these, there is an etiquette. So you're supposed to listen to see if somebody is on the phone before you crank the phone. Otherwise, if you just go ahead and crank the phone for the operator or something, anybody who's on the phone is going to hear an earful of like very, very loud noise of static. Like it's going to be very bothersome. So there was an etiquette around these things. Listen for anybody speaking before you dial out. Normally, when you ring a phone on your neighbor's party line, people know that somebody's talking, But how do you know when somebody stops talking? Well, after you're done and you hang up, you give a little ring off, or I forget what they call it, but it's like saying, hey, I'm done, so the next person can pick up. Of course, anybody in your neighborhood can pick up the phone and listen in on your conversation, but normally people wouldn't do that, I think. The other thing is, if you were dialing out or contacting somebody on another party line, the little chime would also tell the operator at the switchboard to say, hey, unplug our party line from this other party line. We're done with it. This is my first crank phone that I got. You can see there's a larger magnometer in there. And it looks like there used to be batteries in there, 3 of them, very large telephone batteries. They are the equivalent of 3 AA batteries now. 3 AA batteries has more capacity than what they had back in the days, from what I'm finding so far. So that's quite interesting. I have not gotten anything with that to work just yet. I am in the process of doing different things, but now that I have that and I have this, I can actually make an actual party line between the two to simulate what had actually happened back in the day. We're just not there yet. Just many little projects here going on. Another thing is, you'll notice I do have 2 of these Grand Stream ATAs. I actually have a third. This is the first one, but they're all labeled now. And this costs just as much as this little 2-port device. As I was getting more phones, I was like, okay, we need to support more phones. I did have a splitter. Let me see if I can find a splitter. So here's a normal splitter that many people are familiar with. So you could have 5 phones on the same line. This is essentially a party line. That's how party lines work. Everybody is on the same line. They can hear everybody in the same house. However, I wanted the different phones to have the ability to dial into the Raspberry Pi PBX back there. And there are certain games we can set up so that depending on which phone you use, you can get a different audio played back, which is going to be very useful if we have puzzles and stuff later on. We are talking about a lot of different fun opportunities with this setup. So we have 10 lines here. This one here is for me at home for testing. So I'll be able to test at home and then bring the rest down to the gallery for people to interact with. And then I'll have this and this at the gallery as well on its own party line. There might be a switchboard or something to mimic a switchboard that I can connect them up to to a regular voice over IP. We'll figure it out. But lots and lots is going on. I'm trying to think what else. There might be an opportunity later on to like introduce fax machines so that you can dial a number and get an image printed out, or submit an image to a custom phone number for other people to dial into. There also is the idea that I might be able to set up maybe a modem with a like Renegade BBS or something that people can understand what it was like to be on a BBS back in the day, and what it was like to download a file. Although I don't know how far I want to go into that. I did manage a BBS. I managed both Telex and Renegade. Telex really isn't anything, but Renegade was quite interesting. I still have things like the draw to create ANSI graphics, but fun stuff. Right now, I'm pretty much in between getting these phones finished up and finalizing the submission process, because I want to get the process of putting audio files on that Raspberry Pi back there very easy to do through the website. but I also want to be able to allow people to have submissions through the Raspberry Pi, so that when I bring the SD card back home, I can do some transfers and get it ready for the next time I go down to swap things around. It is a separate closed off system. I have to sneakernet everything over to the Raspberry Pi and just swap out a card. So fun stuff.